Welcome to the 94 by 50 podcast with your host, Ilyas Kurbanov. Alongside today, joined by Brandon Graham of First and 10 podcast. I haven't seen this dude in ages. I haven't talked to this guy in ages. Here we are about to dissect some Super Bowl action that's coming towards us this Sunday. Super Bowl 58. That's going to be a game, man. CMC, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Kittle, the matchups, we kind of wanted to see in the final game of the year.
At Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid too, man. I'm in Vegas right now in my hotel. I lied. I'm in Toronto right now, but no, I cannot wait to see that game on Sunday. It's about to be epic, and it's funny. A lot of people are saying, of course, when Biden and Trump were going into the election, the first time into I can't remember what year that was, but back into 2020, it was right. These Niners and Chiefs. Now they're doing it right again, and it's the Niners and Chiefs back in 4 years later, right? So. Incredible matchup. Cannot wait for this matchup overall. Would have loved to see the Baltimore Ravens in there. Really thought the Baltimore Ravens had this was their year to let Lamar get over the hump. But man, you cannot count out Patrick Mahomes, man. He went through not only Tua, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Those three guys are premier guys in the league. And the fact he's going through these guys and going to obviously brought Tua to his home, but going to beat the Buffalo Bills. I've been to a few Buffalo Bills games this year. That is not an easy environment. It's not an easy environment in Baltimore as well, too. Really underrated. So the fact that he can do that, he's essentially just etched himself as the dynasty of the 2020s. All right, they're the dynasty of the 2020s right now. They're the next Tom Brady-esque, Patriots-esque team is the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm sick and tired of losing money against them.
Hey, to be honest, we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, obviously Andy Reid, like the offensive gurus of the National Football League. You can't really discredit their defensive, play and presence, because you talk about one like the quarterback action, right? They're shut down completely everything the Dolphins were doing year round, right? The run game was not there for most of it. Tyreek Hill was held to limited touches, and then Tua just not having anything. Then Josh Allen goes 14-0 up at halftime. All of a sudden, the defense makes a couple of plays. Mahomes throws a couple of touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco makes the run play dominating. And, then going again to Baltimore, playing against Lamar Jackson, making him run laterally instead of forward, and, the run game of the Ravens isn't the greatest. We know that they lack that in that aspect. They don't really have like a number one running back to go to, but they do have a lot of options on the passing end. Mark Andrews, despite the injuries, obviously still showed up and played in those games. And then the young buck, Zay Flowers, is going to be a great receiver in the league and going to be a problem for the years to come. Has that play, gets stripped at the goal line and fumble on the play, and that might be a different game. But again, it's the defense. The defense dictated the pace of those games, and Pat Mahomes just capitalized on the offensive side of the field. But, let's talk about X factors for this upcoming Super Bowl. We have a number of players, obviously the one and only Christian McCaffrey, the best running back in the league right now, and has been consistently for a number of years in the conversation of top three easily. And obviously Pat Mahomes on the offensive side. What do you think will need to happen on both ends for them to be successful and potentially end up winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, you said it. You went through the entire the Chiefs' entire journey right there, right? And what I would definitely say when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, just getting back to what you said, the Miami Dolphins just not doing enough. Once again, it's a warm weather team. They scored 70 points against the Denver Broncos. They scored 70 points against a lot of these guys, and still at the same time couldn't do anything because they're in a cold weather atmosphere, right? You there?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
I just put you on solo. I gave you the spotlight.
Okay.
Time to shine there, BG. Time to shine. Don't be shy. It's all right.
No, of course. Yeah, and everything they've done in going to the Bills and playing the Bills, not making enough. It's almost as though this franchise is cursed. They have everything in front of them to not beat these guys. Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs are those Patriots that it doesn't matter how they play throughout the year. This is the year. Everyone said they're going to be off the train. There were no receivers. Kadarius Toney fumbling games, going offside. being a detriment to the entire team, not having the number one receiver. Travis Kelce not, bringing Taylor Swift in, not being the same Travis Kelce he's been his entire past 5 years, being as dominant as he was. You can, just like CMC and Chris McCaffrey, you can bet. If you put a bet down on Travis Kelce to score a touchdown in the game, he would have done that in the past 4 years. This year, absolutely nothing. Even in fantasy, he was not great this year at all, right? He's almost as though he lost a step, right? But you get to the playoffs, and that's when these guys put it on. It's almost like Gronkowski. Gronkowski had his time in the season and so on and so forth, but there are the moments where he's really quiet. But as soon as it gets in the playoffs, they amp it up a little bit more. Everyone doubts them. They amp it up a little bit more. You see the Tom Brady picture of him like this in the Super Bowl, get 28-0 down, of course. And then, of course, throughout the year when they're playing the Chiefs, you saw the same kind of picture with Tom Brady. Being doubted. Everyone in the critics, all the critics saying that they're never going to get back to the Super Bowl. The dynasty's over. What do? They go back. They win 2 more Super Bowls, right? Those are the Kansas City Chiefs. And of course, seeing the Niners and their journey from then, I don't think they've played up to their potential. Not their potential, but the greatest they could in these playoffs. It's almost as though they've scaled down. They played down to really and truly the Green Bay Packers were dominating that matchup, right? And they're a hot team coming from their victory against the Dallas Cowboys. In the last game, they're down by 17 points to the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions sold the game. They absolutely choked the game more than anything, right? And that's something that just momentum, because you have a Chris McCaffrey who's going to score every game, anytime touchdown, every full game you'll get with Chris McCaffrey. George Kittle's going to show up. Brandon Ayuk is a problem. Brandon Ayuk, third, and Jawan Jennings is a great receiver as well too. That essentially Brock Purdy always finds a third down for some reason. And then who's checked one of the best fullbacks in the entire league. The offensive line of Trent Williams being on so many different iterations of the Washington football team, Washington Redskins, whatever it may be, and now being on the best lineman, the best left tackle in the league right now. He deserves something. And remember, these guys went up against the Kansas City Chiefs in 2020. They lost that game, and it was really this close because Jimmy Garoppolo overthrew a receiver down the field. His name doesn't come to mind right now, but definitely know who it is. I can see his face. But that same team is back again. George Kittle was there. All those guys were there. Brock Purdy was not there. CMC was not there. The receivers were not there. But they're here now, and they're ready for this game. I cannot – my heart is saying Niners definitely going to be able to win this game. CMC's going to be able to run down but the Chiefs' defense, Jarius Sneed has not been scored on as a corner this entire year. Chris Jones has been nasty entire. That D-line's been good. They've exceeded expectations coming into the year. They really have. Andrew Reid, Spagnola's dialed up, of course. I think this game is going to come down to who wins in the trenches, who can run the ball effectively, who's going to be able to sustain drives. That's essentially what's going to happen. And to be honest, it's really a toss-up, and there's not a sure winner in this game at all because both teams have proved that they can be problems. Kyle Shanahan hasn't won a Super Bowl. Andy Reid's runs many. They're coming back. There hasn't been a back-to-back winner since this is the Patriots. It's the Patriots? No, the Patriots. Back over here for a long period. It's been over 20 years. I think it's been over 20 years. I can't remember the last team that actually won, but it's been over 20 years since the team went back-to-back. It's very hard to do it. I think the Chiefs can definitely do it.
And, you mentioned Chris Jones. That guy was ready to hold off a year because they didn't want to pay him, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't want to pay him the big money. He holds off. They renegotiate the contract, and all of a sudden, this guy's back, and he's making the biggest plays in the times when it matters the most. And delivers, wins those games for the Chiefs. And one player I'm surprised you haven't mentioned, although he might not be 100% healthy, but Deebo Samuel, that guy,
another guy,
playing on, a multifaceted wide receiver that could run the ball and run the ball like as if he is a second running back option, dominating on the ground and in the air, finding the ball in strides when Brock Purdy needs another option at receiver. You mentioned obviously George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk being there for the majority of the year and being consistent, and the way they utilize those guys late in the game against Detroit, like you said, they threw the game. It's funny. I was with my friend at a bar watching that game, and there was a San Francisco fan. We were leaving at halftime because we had to go. And he goes, "Hey, you guys want my hat?" because this is embarrassing. And next thing you know, they make a comeback. I get home, I'm like, it's a totally different game. It's
Yep,
like a 3 point game all of a sudden. It's
mhm,
within reach. And all, as much as I'm a firm believer that Brock Purdy is a system quarterback, he makes plays in that system.
mhm.
He delivers.
Yeah,
You
he has
can't
fun.
discredit the fact that he makes those plays in the crunch time. He's not afraid to be in the spotlight and have that responsibility to
Mhm.
make those big plays,
Absolutely.
and that will be another factor that the San Francisco 49ers will have to rely on down the stretch
Mhm.
when it comes down to those critical moments, making those, decisions that will potentially be a make it or break it for the 49ers. And Pat Mahomes, ice cold, he can make those plays any given day. He has been doing that for the past few years. He is a two-time Super Bowl winner for a reason.
Mhm.
Possibly, make it three, because going, betting against Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid is going to be a task for a lot of people that be
Mhm.
like, yeah, maybe not. But my heart is also with the 49ers. That team on paper is technically better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. On paper, both sides of the ball. Fred Warner, we didn't even mention Fred Warner. He was a perennial All-Pro player. On green line, all these guys on defense are absolute problems. Of course, Lenore too. They're great. They're great on the defensive side of the ball. But yes, they were down. They were getting dominated. And what you realize that the Detroit Lions exposed them because they cannot stop the run really well. If you're running very, very well, because Montgomery, Jamar Gibbs torched them. Right, they had a great Ben Johnson had a great game plan with Detroit against them. But once again, the reason why the Detroit Lions lost is because Dan Campbell is very, very aggressive, and this is how he's always been. He's going to go on fourth down when they can kick the ball. They gave him chances to gain momentum while they're at home. And then, what did Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan do? They capitalize on that, capitalize on the mistakes, turn those turnovers on down into points, and that's exactly what they're probably going to do again against the Kansas City Chiefs. I know it's Brock Purdy versus Patrick Mahomes, the quarterbacks, but as you just said, Brock Purdy put it on his back. We had to run the ball. He had to get open. He had to really put the team on his back, because if they lose, it'd be like, hey, the reason why you lost, so you have all of these all-star caliber players around you, and you quarterback who are not elite, not means put into this system of saying you're an elite player, because usually elite players are those that can play under different coaches or in different systems. Pat Mahomes supersedes that because essentially he's just a problem, and he's been doing this for
He's
years.
just
Number
he's beyond that. He's
he's
beyond that
beyond,
point.
he's
There's
beyond that.
talent, athleticism, arm.
Yeah,
You could toss everything in the same bucket.
exactly. Right. You can put all. He's beyond that. Right. Kyle Shanahan has done the same system with Jimmy Garoppolo. With Trey Lance, they could not do it. They couldn't finish it. They even went to go tell the owner that the third string quarterback was their best quarterback or fit for the system. But they have Christian McCaffrey now. They have to show up every game this playoffs that this team, the Niners, have played. They played behind the eight ball. They've taken a long time to get into it. They have to show up, and they have to use. Debo's got to. I think Debo is going to be the biggest. Debo, Brandon Ayuk are going to be the biggest X factors in this game. I don't know if the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be able to match up and play with all of them, because they're going to run the ball. The O line's going to. I don't know. That's their favorites right now, but the Chiefs still have Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs, for some reason, I've counted out Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in every game but the game against the Miami Dolphins. I thought for a fact they were going to lose in Buffalo. I thought for a fact they were going to lose in Baltimore, and I was wrong. And it's just like betting against the Patriots, who were the last team to go back to back in 05 and 05 and 04 or 05. Exact same thing. So it's so hard to say, man. I will feel, this is how I feel right now. I feel like betting against Pat Mahomes so much. I want to do it, but then I'm going to feel like an idiot for the third time in a row if they end up winning that game. Imagine that. Imagine, like, think about that. I'll feel like an idiot if I bet against them again. I'll feel like an absolute idiot. That's why I'm so hell bent on what's going to happen here. I'm so up and down with it all, man. It's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great game, great matchup. I would have loved to see Lamar Jackson get a ring, man. So bad I wanted the Ravens to win, but it is what it is. And it's been a great year, man. It's been one of those up and down years where you didn't think that the Chiefs were gonna be there, and lo and behold, where are they again, man? Where are they again?
It's true. It's funny. Like, one of my friends at work, Aaron, he's like, I asked him, he's like, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Way the week of the matchup between them and Buffalo, and he said that the winner of this game will win the Super Bowl.
Oh
Next
wow.
thing you know, the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl playing this Sunday. If that happens, I'll genuinely just be like, "Hey, you called it."
You
And
got
you
it.
called it from a while ago. It's not like, it's this week.
Yeah.
Call your winner, pick your winner. He just said, yeah, if they win this game, they win the Super Bowl. And if you think about it, the Buffalo had number one defense in the league.
Mhm.
Defensively, they were the best team.
Mhm.
Offensively, they had Josh Allen, who is a tremendous quarterback.
Mhm.
Stephon Diggs, who had an off year, who is
Off,
still a tremendous receiver.
yeah, but off year.
They might not have the best run game,
Mhm.
but those running backs are consistent. James Cook had a few great games in a regular season, still, able to rush for about 70 to 80 yards a game. You
Mhm.
know, they can make those plays. Those guys can make plays.
Mhm.
And I feel like, again, it's going to come down to the defense whether or not the Chiefs can stop first the run,
Mhm.
because having to tackle CMC is really a task. And we saw that with Detroit, who do have a lot of, great D linemen, like edges and, linebackers. So yeah, I feel like it's gonna come down to a wire in my opinion. And, it's gonna be something to look at. You said the X factor will be Ayuk and Debo. I think George Kittle is up for a game of his lifetime. And,
Yeah.
remembering that clip that popped off immediately as soon as they won against Detroit, Kittle saying, like, I'm going to be back and I'm going to come back with vengeance. And it
Mhm.
was against the Chiefs when they lost in 2020.
Yep.
Like, I wonder what type of game he is going to have, because he is due for, kind of a breakout performance
Yeah.
and having that once in a lifetime career games.
No, 100%, man. And he, like, once again, these guys were there. Debo was there. George Kittle was there. Juszczyk was there. Like, these offensive linemen were there. So they have that. And it's almost as though when you come back after a few years of knowing how hard it is to get back to the promised land, and even who did they lose? Like even beating, you know, Aaron Rodgers a few years ago and getting to and even losing to, man, they've gone through a lot since those 4 years, and it's so hard to get back to it. I almost am fearful that they're going to be trying too hard to, like forcing things. You know what I'm saying? When you want to get back to the promised land, and you force things too much, and it goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones. But anyways, with that being said, okay, if you watch Hard Knocks at the start of the year, okay, with the Jets, Oz the Mentalist, okay, so I just wrote this down. Have you ever seen any clips of Oz the Mentalist, the guy that is reading
Yeah,
minds?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that? I don't know if you saw it, but he called up McCole Hardman. Okay, McCole Hardman used to be on the New York Jets, and he said,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, where do you see yourself? Who's going to be in the Super Bowl?" And he said he guessed it, whatever. And he's like, "Oh, you thought it was supposed to be the Jets against the Niners, and you're going to win 31-21. Now look at that too. Where's McCole Hardman now? He's with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're playing up again because him playing up against the Niners in the Super Bowl. And they're saying that his team is going to win 31-21. I will not be surprised. I don't think that Brock Purdy can come up with points generally if he has to throw the ball a lot. I don't think he can do it the same way that Patrick Mahomes can. If Pacheco can run, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is able to get downfield as well too, they need to workhorse, go at it, and they can win this game. That's why it's so hard and really hard for me to go against even a guy that's Oz the Mentalist, even though it's a lot of illusion stuff. That right there is something that's almost like destiny. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of scary.
We gotta have him on a podcast, and maybe he'll help us predict the weather a little bit better.
Yeah, predicting weather, all that stuff. I'm scared of that though. It's people that are reading your hands and stuff like that. I'm scared of people telling me what I'm gonna do later on. And all this. People do that. People actually, my aunt used to always go and do that stuff. So I always found it kind of weird. But yeah,
Hey,
like it's gonna be a great game. I honestly, I don't think I've ever been back and forth with anything in a long time. Like if it was Detroit against the Chiefs, I think I would hammer Detroit. Honestly, they already beat them the year They're
Mhm.
the underdogs, and it's so crazy that Detroit almost made the Super Bowl. That's like just saying those words, like you're Michigan faithful, whatever it may be, them almost getting back is still crazy to me. But I'm not surprised because they have guys. They drafted well. They did a really good job. They built it like it was something that was destined to happen over a certain period of time. But yeah, now these two teams are in there, and I just don't think and I'll feel really bad for Kyle Shanahan because he's first of all lost to the Patriots in the 28th. He's offensive coordinator for Dan Quinn when they played the Falcons. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, those men played against the New England Patriots. I think it was like 18. I can't remember exactly.
18, yeah,
18,
2018.
yeah, exactly, and lost that game after being up 28-3, I believe. Can't remember exactly, but
28-3.
yeah, that game losing, being the offensive coordinator, and then going and losing to the Chiefs, and then he's back again in the Super Bowl. He has to get the monkey off his back. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches that we have in this game. He's a brilliant mind offensively, but I'm just letting you know right now that this guy has to get the monkey off his back, and if he doesn't, it's gonna be a problem.
Man, it's gonna be an interesting one, not like to say the least. I think I could see Kyle Shanahan finally getting over the hump because even like last year when they lost to the Eagles in the divisional championship game, sending the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Um, it's something that
Oh yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't say necessarily they choked, but it's just they got outplayed. Philly was just dominant last year. Their defense was great. Their offensive line, obviously, one of the best in the league year in and year out. And now, obviously, Jason Kelsey taking his hanging off his boots. Um,
allegedly. They didn't say this didn't happen yet.
oh,
Allegedly,
okay.
yeah, allegedly.
I could see that happening. It's
Yeah,
like
I can see it happening too, but allegedly.
he's a family man. He got
Yeah,
kids.
yeah,
He
but
got a wife. He got a whole podcast
yeah, but
with
you see
Trav.
what he's doing. You see him in the the crowd crying and
Oh, of
still liking
course.
the game. So who knows, man? He's a gamer.
I mean, he'll definitely, regardless whether he plays or not, he'll stay around the game. But it's just gonna be. I think okay, I'm gonna have to go, with my heart here. I think 49ers take this game. I think it's gonna be a close one. I think it's gonna be the spread is gonna be probably around like I would say like 53 and a half
Hmm.
between the two teams. It's gonna be a decently high scoring game. But yeah, I think Kittle and CMC will have games of their careers. I just have a feeling.
Okay, so you're gonna ride with the favorites. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs, man. There's
Man,
so
Chiefs are not underdogs. Like I don't want to hear that.
they're
Yo,
what do
I
you
know
they're underdogs.
they're underdogs in sports books. I know. I
Yes,
know. I see the lines, but I don't like you can't really call them an underdog. It's a
they're,
team that's been there before. They've won a Super Bowl last year. They
they're,
might not be on paper the best team, obviously, but I can't really call them a true underdog. Like, you know what I mean?
they're on, you just named the entire roster, okay? The Niners are super nasty. When they put it together, they could not be stopped.
Yes, they're stacked. They're stacked.
They're
I
stacked.
agree. Yeah.
They're stacked for a reason, and they're in the luxury tax for a reason.
Yeah.
They are the favorites, and you're right. It's Patrick Mahomes, and I just can't for the life. The only person he's lost to in the Super Bowl is Tom Brady. I cannot see. I don't. He's only lost to Tom Brady. I cannot see Brock Purdy beating them unless it's CMC and those other guys beating them. I cannot see that. Next guy went to Iowa State. Okay, I cannot see that he would outplay Patrick. And if he outplays Patrick Mahomes, that means the defense on the San Fran are doing an incredible job. But
Yeah.
it's Oz the Mentalist said it. I'm going to ride with Oz the Mentalist. I'm going to say that before I'm going to ride with Magic. That's what's going to happen. I'm going with the Chiefs, man. Leaving the Chiefs money line. You already know what's going on, man. Listen, just like your Michigan team, man. If I lose this, I'm gonna quit any prediction overall. You'll be like 1-0 against me, probably 2-0 because you have the Michigan team. But I'm definitely taking a riding with the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Let's get it.
Hey, to be honest, Michigan had it in them. Like, they were due for one. Because
Mhm.
imagine going, losing first to Georgia, then losing obviously to TCU last year, which they should have won. Like, those two interceptions, touchdown that didn't count at the goal line. Like, it's like so many things that have gone against them. Like
They
McCarthy
would
had
not.
to grow up.
They
McCarthy,
would
no, no,
not
no.
beat Georgia. They would not beat Georgia. They would not beat
No,
Georgia.
I mean, you never know. We wouldn't know. We wouldn't know. At this point, we wouldn't know. They never played each other, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that. Georgia was stacked. I agree. No, I agree with that.
They were too stacked. They were too
Oh
stacked.
yeah, 100%. But
Ohio State would beat them.
we can't say they wouldn't have beat them because they never played each other. So we'll leave it at that.
Listen,
But
yeah,
they won the Natty this year, so
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. Oh, by the way, what are your thoughts on Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers? I think personally, it's the perfect team he could have gone to with the system.
Perfect system, perfect situation for him. And remember, he can just build it just like he did with Michigan. And he's always the thing with Jim Harbaugh is like top 5 coaches of our lifetime. Eh? Like, just think about it. Like, he's taken a team to the Super Bowl. He's always won. He's just always won. Like, he has some type of formula that he cultivates, and he finds something, and he has the right people around him all the time. Of course, he was getting dominated by Urban Meyer, and there was a time where many Michigonians
Calling for his head.
calling for his head, right? Just like
Not gonna lie, I was one of them.
100%, right? Because
I was so upset.
You're gonna slap my heart. I'm feeling that pain right now, man. I've had to feel that pain for the past 3 years.
Yeah,
2-3 years, man. It's terrible.
3-0.
CJ Stroud's doing this to NFL teams. We couldn't beat Michigan. Think about that, man. So just like that, like this, like the perfect situation is Justin Herbert. They want it. They have their eyes on Saquon Barkley. They're gonna build something that's hard nosed and tough. What's oh my gosh, the running back that was there, of course, too. Oh my gosh, I know Josh Kelly, Austin Eckler had a really down year, right? They had a really down year running the ball. They couldn't run as effectively as they used to. He's lost a step. But the fact of the matter is, man, he's gonna build from in the trenches. That's what he always does. He always builds, and teams don't do this. They don't build from the trenches out. Detroit built from the trenches out with Penei Sewell and Ragnow and all those guys, and they have a great O-line.
Hutchinson. So
you have to build from the trenches, and he always does that. Some teams just don't know that. They don't want to. They want to do finesse. It's like Michael Penix, whatever it may be, right? And that's why they don't get to where they're doing. And just like Tyreek Hill not being on the Chiefs right now, they got rid of Tyreek Hill. They muscled up on the offensive line. They invested in the offensive line. They're back again. They knew that Patrick Mahomes is so good that he's going to find another receiver to throw the ball to, and then he has Travis Kelce. They don't need Tyreek Hill, as you could see from last year, right? They realized too, you got to build from the trenches. You have to do that, and then you can probably find some success. And to be honest with you, they could have lost to Philadelphia last year, right? But they got Patrick Mahomes was just miraculous and just would not say no to losing. This guy had a grade 3 high ankle sprain, bro. How? Like, do you know how hard those things are to come back from? So they're putting
He's a winner. That's the answer to the formula. He's just a winner. He makes plays in the
winner. That's the same thing as Jim Harbaugh is winner. So I think it's a perfect situation. Remember all the allegations and stuff with back at Michigan. He would have got in trouble again. So it just made sense, man. It just made sense, and I'm not surprised, and I'm happy that you got what you wanted.
And to be honest, he has the perfect quarterback to run that system. Justin Herbert is, people put him on a top 5 list for a reason. It's his talent, it's his arm. Like, he might not have the best, offensive line. He might not have the best defense that will, potentially give him a little bit of more play on the offensive side of the ball. But he's a great quarterback. And, they have Keenan Allen, who might be getting old, I should say, but he's still one of the top receivers, that has played in our generation. Then you draft Quinton Johnston, who has a lot of room to grow. He's a young player. I think he could be that guy in the right hands, under the right development. And then with the draft, they could potentially go after, what's his guy's name from Georgia, the tight end.
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers, exactly. I thought it was Brock, but I didn't want to butcher his last name. So Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Tough tight
Yeah,
end.
he's
Getting him would be probably elite. Then they could potentially steal a decent running back in the second round. Conspiracy here and unpopular opinion, Blake Corum.
Of course, yeah. They were gonna say.
He is fantastic. He is a great running back. He
great
might be a little undersized, but he's good on his feet. He's got power. He's athletic.
Speaking of that as well, too, man, I would definitely say like it's been watered down, the contracts for these running backs are always like, oh, they're gonna be drained out in the third year of their contract. But now you can see with Bijan Robinson, Jamar Gibbs being drafted as high as they are and being difference makers. Like Bijan wasn't used properly by any means.
Brees Hall as well.
Sorry?
Brees Hall?
Yeah, Brees Hall. Exactly. Another guy, right? So now you're seeing that the price as well as the value of the running back is really high. Like I'm so glad that life is, and then football has gotten back to, hey, first of all, you got to be able to run in the trenches. You see with Michigan, they win this. Like as much as I hate Michigan football, I'm glad that they were able to run the ball so well and show everyone that like you can build from the trenches, and you have to be able to establish a running game. The reason why both Ravens lost that game, Gus Edwards is actually not a bad running back. Him and Justin Silver are not bad. They're not number one, but they're still good. And along with Lamar Jackson, but they only ran the ball against the Kansas City Chiefs 8 times. When have you ever seen Lamar Jackson only in a team run 8 times? It was a terrible game plan. It was just bad all around. But I'm glad that now the running back is going to get a little bit more value, and you see like even though they get run down for a bit, David Montgomery is still battle tested. CMC has been doing it for years. He's still getting paid. It's gonna you're gonna see those contracts for running backs get a little bit higher as they go and be a little bit more valuable because these guys are lasting longer and longer these days, man. So build from the trenches, man. Build from the trenches. I love the running game.
Saquon Barkley too. Another running back, great. Got paid in the offseason after coming back from like a torn ACL.
Yep.
Being a focal point of that Giants offense before Daniel Jones gone down, obviously. Again, like not having the best year considering that they were pretty much fighting for playoffs last year. Wait, they made playoffs last year.
Sorry, who are you referring to? The
Giants.
Yeah,
they were in the wild card.
They beat Kirk Cousins. And they lost to the Eagles.
Yeah, so it's like
Eagles. Yeah.
There's a lot of game in the running, like at the running back position, even like after a number of years that they've, like getting old, there's consistency. Like Derrick Henry has been dominant for years before this year, obviously. Then Nick Chubb probably would have had an amazing season this year, breaking his, hurting his knee in the first game of the season. But like you said, yeah, the market for the running backs is large, and it's only growing with a lot of young talent that like you said, colleges implementing the running game a little more and seeing that talent bloom and develop. It's funny. Blake Corum leaving Michigan. Guess who stayed at Michigan?
Donovan Edwards.
Donovan Edwards. He's going to be due for a breakout year.
He's going to get
They're going to run that ball through him, and he's amazing at it too.
It's like he waited this, and it's not like he waited his turn. It was a great 1-2 punch. Like he still went off, right? And the thing is, these guys can stay in college now and get paid and still be fine. So it's a great decision. It's a win-win because you weren't the number one. You had to come back. Like even if JJ McCarthy came back, I still think it would be a decent decision. Oh, he won the championship. Like what more can you get? Right? It's so
go back to back. Try to go back to back.
You guys are gonna take a big dip with Harbaugh there. I know. I believe him more. Don't get me wrong, but he already beat Day. He already beat Ryan Day. Oh my god.
Think about that.
Anyways, yeah. But
he's 1-0 against Ryan Day.
That's terrible. Anyways, and Harbaugh's still there. It doesn't matter. But Donovan Edwards, great decision, and I'm really glad we talked about the running back position getting that luster again, because imagine those guys that go to college, play so well, get drafted, and they're not making a second contract, not getting into a second contract. Think about Todd Gurley. The list goes on of guys that that have not done too well. But you have seen guys drop off, and like Ezekiel Elliott, for instance, but he's
significantly too. It's like and Ezekiel Elliott, helping the Buckeyes getting that national championship. Back what 2013, 14?
First year of the CFB. I think not 14. I'm gonna say this.
No, 13. Yeah, that would have been the first. Yeah, it would have been the first CF college football playoff.
Okay, yeah. That's when I graduated university. Wow. Yeah.
So
Great time.
imagine like him leading and then being dominant, the dominant force with the Cowboys for years, and then slowing down. Same thing with Miles Sanders on the Eagles. He's been tremendous running back, and then also slowed down.
Mhm.
It's like all
Well,
these guys, like the running game is just like
mhm.
it's like a gamble in a way because like they're get tormented by injuries because they go through so much contact,
Right.
and
Well,
like the same way that Nick Chubb got hurt this year, like a defensive lineman
yeah.
just landing on his knee.
Yeah, but if you have
Like
a workhorse, sorry to disrupt you there, but I was just gonna say like the way that you have to preserve these running backs, and the way you do that is you have to throw them out into the flex, you can throw them out into the into the slot, right? Like the way that Jamar Gibbs was used is perfect. You preserve him because you put him in the slot sometimes. You have him play that long yardage receiver, running back role. You have David Montgomery as your bell horse, your workhorse guy, and you preserve them for years and years because you're going to use them out in the flats. You're going to throw them screens. You're going to throw them little diamond routes. You're going to throw them flats. Like it's a way of how you preserve these guys over time. And like the Lions did a perfect job of that. They didn't overrun him. The guys that usually get overrun are the ones that have slowed down over the years, like Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's not slowing down, but he's getting injured because they face so much. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it really is.
yeah,
To be very smart with how it is, and you're really smart. But man, the game has never been this. It's always been exciting, but I think the game's never been this electric when it comes to offensive side of the ball. It's an offensive game. If the defense can play really well, that's great, but it's an offensive game. It's driven by offense. And yeah, you can see in this game as well too. But two teams that are, Kansas City Chiefs are very high powered in offense traditionally, or now the past 5 years over. But the Niners have it on both sides of the ball, right? So it's just the balance you need to have. You need to be good at special teams. It's so hard. Football is so hard to put it all together. But when you can, magic.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
The offense, yeah, like you said, like the offense kind of dictates. It's funny, like the saying goes, right? Defense wins championships.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking at it this way, okay? Defense does win championships. Don't get me wrong. It wins a lot of games. It wins crucial games. We've seen it happen a number of times. The interception at the goal line. No, I think that was more Pete Carroll's decision.
That's a dumb decision.
But
decision in NFL history.
I think offense. I think offense still is. It's stupid to say it's an important factor because that's part of the game, but
Mhm.
it's more like, without a good offense, regardless of how good your defense is, you're not winning games. If you cannot, because at the end of the day, think about it this way: the team that wins is the one that puts more points on board.
Yes,
And if you don't got those, like if the defense gets you those opportunities but you don't convert, how are you supposed to win games?
perfect example of the Baltimore Ravens, right? They kept them. The Chiefs only scored 17 points to get 17 points. So Patrick Queen and his goals were keeping them in the game. But you don't have those opportunities if you have a bad defense. You know what I'm saying? You still have to have a good defense. So I know I totally get what you're saying. I totally understand. But it's so hard to say because you have to have your opportunities and have your create opportunities for the offense by being a good defense. But you have to still put up points. But you can put up points to the defense.
Yeah.
You can't stop the team on offense. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you can score and you can stop them. So there's more opportunity. You need a good defense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's hard to put it together into bottle up all that.
And perfect example of that is actually the Eagles.
Yeah.
That offense is tremendous. You have AJ Brown, you have Devonta Smith, you got Jalen Hurts, you got that O line, and then Miles Sanders, who might not be the number one, like the top 5, top 10 running backs, in the league. He's still a decent running back to have as a number one option on your team. And, that defense wasn't doing anything. Yeah. It was all like offense dependent. And once your offense was shut down in that, game against San Francisco, everyone saw you got exposed. So people took advantage of that and started just tormented that Eagles defense.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift, he's the guy they brought from Detroit, and Miles
True.
Sanders is with the Panthers now, but he like
Yeah.
with the way that you're totally right. But it wasn't only that. You can see after the win against the Bills in overtime, everything went to turmoil with that team. Nick Sirianni was not doing the job. Offensive coordinator got changed. Matt Patricia took over the defense. There were so many elements to that team that went wrong because of different personnel changes, different coaching changes, and they ran. If you remember, they lost to the Arizona Cardinals. They ran a screen pass. Sorry, quarterback keeper, screen pass when they're down by 10 points, and they got stopped. And people were like, "What are you doing?" The play calling was atrocious, man. Play calling was atrocious in the latter part of the year. It's almost like a high school offense, right? It was worse than call. It really truly. The Eagles fans will tell you right now that they went to the Super Bowl last year. Why were people calling for Nick Sirianni to be fired this year, man? They're up and down, man. But NFL, the season was great this year. I rather have I don't know if you're a Patriots fan, but I never really liked the Patriots in the way they were dominating. But
Yeah.
I don't mind. I like the Chiefs a lot more as a dynasty than I did.
I think they're just more likable.
Yeah, they're just
Like, you
more
know what I
like
mean? It's not like it. You actually have superstars on your team. Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? You have superstar receivers in the past. You have like superstar like in Travis Kelsey. Obviously, Pat Mahomes is superstar status as a quarterback. And don't get me wrong, like Tom Brady is the GOAT
Yeah.
of football. But he wasn't like you think Tom Brady. You don't really think of him like,
Yeah,
like, you know,
you got to realize too that those first Super Bowls he's won, they were a defensive team, like Teddy
yeah,
Bruschi.
exactly. And like if you think about it, like Julian Edelman is not a superstar receiver. He's a
He
great receiver.
he's
He's a
fine.
great system player. He played really well with Bill Belichick and with Tom Brady in the tandem. Rob Gronkowski is a superstar because he has that aura about him, and he was just unstoppable as a
Randy
tight end
Moss.
when he
Randy
was playing.
Moss.
Randy Moss was a superstar, although like his issues a little bit off the field, like the way he carried himself sometimes, but he's still a tremendous receiver and probably deserves to have a ring. You
Mhm.
know,
Definitely.
unfortunately, never happened for him. But yeah,
Yeah.
there are a lot of superstars that they had. But if you look at this Kansas City Chiefs, is like they had guys that are actually like gone on to different teams and dominated with other teams. You know what I mean?
Especially when we started this discussion, I remember the New York Giants beat the Patriots twice, and what do they have? They had Justin Tuck, they had Even Yora, they had Strahan, they had a crazy defense, they had like a stacked defense, and they stopped Tom Brady and those guys, right? And Eli Manning, all he had to do, even though he was so inconsistent the entire year, he just had to put up points. So, like,
Yeah.
yes, offense is definitely special, but you can win with an elite defense. Like Russell Wilson, those guys were solid, but the defense was a difference. Maybe we remember more so the crazy defenses more so than the really high powered offenses. That's what I'm trying to say. Like
Mhm.
you remember the defenses more because they're the ones that have to get the stops on third down. They have to stop them at the goal line. So I think overall defense is more important, but offense is extremely important. You know what I'm saying? So that's the defense wins championships, man. I really stand by that mantra when it comes to everything, man. By the way, how are the Michigan basketball team doing this year? I know I'm just trying to change the subject.
We're gonna skip that subject until later date. We'll actually skip it till next year because I think
Yeah.
it's
No,
gonna
I
terrible.
can't even
That's
see you,
how
but
we do.
I know you're
We're
looking.
we're terrible. We're terrible. Like there's like if there's a word that's below terrible that
Yeah.
makes them worse.
Mhm.
Hey, we did win against the number 12 Wisconsin last night. Okay,
Oh wow, that's good. Yeah, Wisconsin.
we did. I we had this whole scandal with McDaniel's. Wait, and he is only allowed to play in home games. He's our starting point guard.
Mhm. He's good. He's good.
Tremendous player. Had a great preseason with the team, and obviously showed up on a number of occasions this year. But yeah, he's just playing only home games, and it's hard when you have your number one point guard, number one option kind of offensively, and that other presence on the defensive end taken away from you for the majority of the season. It's kind of you're gonna lose some games. There's gonna be a lot of adjusting, a lot of work to do, but look, regular season is a regular season. We all know what happens in a conference tournament. Anything can go wrong. Anything can go right. So mathematically, they could still make it. You know, mathematically and hypothetically, they could still do it. What are their chances? Very slim. Do I believe in it? Absolutely not. But guess what? You win some, you lose some.
It'll be a shame.
You live. I'm not ashamed. Hey, I've been through a heartbreak with the football team. I've been through a heartbreak with the Michigan basketball team, us losing 2 national titles, having the opportunity to win twice. Then I've been in bad places with Portland. There's nothing new to me. There's nothing new. We'll lose. I've seen the losing side of it. I've seen the losing side of it so many times. Like I lose track.
Chelsea bottle it to my Liverpool team.
Hey, Chelsea, man. Chelsea is. I'm not even talking about those guys. Those guys could have a monster game against the top team in the league and then lose to some bottom tier guys, some Burnley, some Wolverhampton. Like, come on, get out of here.
I'm a big Liverpool guy, right? So yeah, seeing them lose to Arsenal was I hate Arteta.
Oh, you guys lost to Arsenal. I was so mad.
Yeah, I hate it.
Here's the thing. If Chelsea doesn't win the title, right, which obviously is not going to happen. No. I'm not even – dude, if, hypothetically, even if every team in front of us loses every single game, I promise you we'll manage to lose what? We have, 14 games left maybe in the season. We'll probably manage to lose half of them, so we're not going to make it anyways. Yeah, but the reality is Chelsea, talent, youth – and all of those things as a factor, we are going to be okay. Mm-hmm. I think our manager is going to be okay. A lot of people call for his head, and I could see why and understand. But at the same time, watching those games and seeing how we concede some of the goals, there's nothing Pochettino can do.
You have Thiago Silva, who's 38, 39 in the back still. Don't get me wrong, he's a really smart player.
He's a great player, though. He makes plays. He makes plays.
You need a good center back, of course.
Yeah.
But I really do think it's not Pochettino.
We get cooked on the counterattack. We get destroyed on the counterattack every time. I've seen a number of times Badia Show make mistakes, Axel Disasi make mistakes, our left backs and right backs getting cooked. It's just – and our midfield, we pay so much money for Moses Caicedo and Fernandez. And those guys sometimes, I feel like they're on the moon, amongst the stars somewhere gazing and trying to find the ball to play with when the right ball is actually on planet Earth down on the grass at Stamford Bridge or wherever they're playing. So I don't understand sometimes – what we're doing, but I've seen at least if we conceded this year, let's say, I don't know the exact number, but over 20 goals easily we conceded over 20. I would say 30% of those goals are actually great plays by the opposition.
Absolutely.
The rest is just our defense literally looking the opposite way of where the ball is. So, but it is what it is. You again, you win some, you lose some. I know we're going to bounce back. I'm not, I'll have my down years, and we still a 2-time Champions League winners, multiple Premier League titles, multiple FA Cups. We have a trophy case with trophies. So when I hear some London team fans come after me talking about how bad we are this year and last year, I just say, when is the last time your team won the Champions League?
Exactly how I feel about the Raptors, man. You send all of our guys to the moon. We still got that 19 championship, man. So
exactly. So it's you got the bragging rights forever. Come on.
All I need. And then the Raptors are what I care about most. I love everyone, and I think once I have that, I'm good. I'm good soon, man. But yeah, man, definitely great talking to you, man. I can talk to you about forever, but listen,
dude, I know. Hey, thanks for joining me, my friend. Like, it's been so long. Like, we haven't had a podcast together since 2022.
Oh
Obviously,
wow.
I took a year off last year because I was working, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with,
Yeah.
professionally and other things.
Yeah.
But I'm back with it. I'm going to
Let's
be
go.
back with it even more. We're going to talk
Go.
some March Madness action when it comes around,
Yes.
rolls around the corner, NBA playoffs. We're back.
Let's
You know what I mean?
go.
I almost want to roll in the Hangover meme, Hangover, the movie. You remember the moment in the car? We are back.
We're
We're
back.
back.
Uh,
So,
yeah,
man,
man.
BG, I really appreciate your time. Again, those who tuned in, I really appreciate the support. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. I was about to say Twitter. I don't have Twitter. I mean, not for my podcast page, but you can follow me on Twitter.
Oh,
Ilya_Kurbanov 7. Boom.
Let's go.
BG.
Graham_JB, G_JB. Let's go. Get me everywhere,
There you
man.
go. Exactly. So follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. The 94x50 is back. We're going to have some great content. Again, this will be uploaded on YouTube shortly to later this evening. And obviously you could catch some snippets on social media, Instagram and TikTok. There'll be a lot of great content. Again, BG, I appreciate you. He's got this Kansas City Chiefs. I got the 49ers. We'll see who was right in the end this Sunday afternoon. To those who will be watching the Super Bowl, I hope you guys enjoy it. If you are going to bet on those games, bet responsibly. Only bet what you can afford to lose. Don't be stupid about it. But most importantly, have fun and enjoy time with your families. BG, you got anything to say before you go?
Hey, no, thank you so much for bringing me on here, man. It was a pleasure. It was super fun. I got to run, but definitely going to do this again. So talk about
100%. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. And remember to always keep it simple. All right.
Sick, man.